week 4 Valor cycle covering June 17th to June 22nd. I shaved all my hair off. I understand I'm 30% uglier, but I'm at least 40% more efficient, so numbers game, you know what I'm saying? And also my entire family is working out outside of this room. So if this video gets chopped up or cut up and edited in any way, that's probably why. Our strength movements, so it's the same pattern as all the Valor cycle. The strength movements for this week are gonna be sumo deadlift and push press. I know a lot of people don't like the sumo deadlift, or a lot of people talk shit about it, but it's not, we're not trying to like make you power lifters. It's just a new stimulus. It's just a different way of lifting weight up off the ground. It's not something I would program for a whole cycle. And I'm not saying with sumo, that kind of encompasses the gorilla stance. It's really just your feet are wider than your grip. So I like to go more vertical shins. It honestly looks kind of like more of a squat than it does a deadlift. But that's how when I do sumo deadlifts, I go wider stance, but not wide where like my toes are about to get smashed by the weight. So just something to keep in mind. If you are in the camp where you're like, oh, totally sumo deadlift, then don't do sumo deadlifts, do conventional deadlifts. Use straps if you need to. If your grip's a limiting factor, the whole point of our lower body days, our lower body strength training, is to build the strength of the lower body, and in particular with the deadlift days, in a hinge pattern, so hinging at the hip. If that's not the limiting factor, then we're not strengthening that part as much as we could be. If your grip is the limiting factor, the thing that's stopping you from lifting more weight or keeping your weight high across 8 sets, because we're doing 8 sets of 2, then your grip's going to be the thing that's getting the most training, and that's not what we're trying to do. If that's your goal, say you're a grappler, you're jiu-jitsu, and maybe you want to be competitive with it, and you'd rather grip be the main focus, then sure, let it rip. But my intent when writing this was not it to be grip focused. So if you find that your grip is a limiting factor, use straps or some sort of wraps. Definitely a valuable tool. So keep that in mind. So strength for lower body is the sumo deadlift or wide stance deadlift. And then strength for upper body on Tuesday is going to be push press. Both of them are 8x2. So you build up to a heavy double, 2 reps. And then from there, you do 8 sets. Very time consuming. Again, why we're not doing a ton of accessory training in this cycle. So Monday, that's your lower body strength, the sumo deadlifts or wide stance deadlifts, 8x2. And then our circuit, it's 5 rounds for time, 9 front squats, 6 push press, 3 strict press, kind of like in a very long barbell complex. But you can put the weight down as needed. So all that's with 95 pounds or 55 pounds. Front squats can be problematic for people. If you can't front squat, if you can't use, like I say all the time, if you can't do the cross chest hold, or you can't use straps to extend the grip, then do a back squat with your heels elevated on whatever size plate you need to be able to get a good deep squat, and it feels like your torso's more upright. For some people that could be like a 2.5 pound plate, others it could be like a 15-pound bumper plate. So that's all going to be person specific. But if you're doing it RX, if you're doing it as prescribed, it's going to be front squats, 9 of them, 6 push press, 3 strict press, 95 pounds, 55 pounds. Here's the kicker. That's 5 rounds of that. That's for time, as fast as possible. Here's the kicker to the workout. Once you're done with those 5 rounds, run a mile. If you don't have, everyone's got access to a place to run, right? Like you can go outside, or if you're in a gym, you can get on a treadmill. If not, or maybe if you're sensitive to running, then row conversion, the row substitute would be 2,000 meter row. That one's going to be after those 5 rounds. Kind of hold on for dear life, but try to go at an intensity you can go as fast as possible, but can maintain for the whole thing. So don't start off on a sprint and then by the end you're barely hanging on the run. Try to find a pace that when you start it, you can maintain it for the whole distance, the whole 1 mile run or a whole 2,000 meter row. That's Monday, June 17th. June 18th, Tuesday, like I said, push press 8x2 after building up to your heavy 2, and then as many rounds as possible in 7 minutes. So this is our short duration effort here. As many rounds as possible in 7 minutes of 3 ground overhead, 3 hanging leg raises. The hanging leg raises can be strict, or they can be more of like a toes to bar, which is going to have more, it could be strict, but if you want to have more of a kip to it, this is about getting a lot of these conditioning efforts, while not like the popular functional fitness company, they are intended to make you be able to do more work in less time. And if you can be more efficient with a hanging leg raise with a little bit of a kip, and you can do more work in less time with a little bit of a kip, then I, for that reason, am a proponent. If you want to keep it strict, I can see arguments for that as well. More a personal preference for you. So, ground overhead is the movement, hanging leg raise is the movement. Alternating between the two, as many rounds as possible in 7 minutes. You do 3 ground overhead, 3 hanging leg raises. 6 ground overhead, 6 hanging leg raises. 9, 9, 12, 12, 15, 15, 18, 18, 21, 21. You keep adding 3 every time through until the 7 minutes is up. That may get to an untenable point, and that's fine. Maybe you have to put the barbell down. Maybe you have to drop down from the pull-up bar and rest to be able to get those reps done. That's fine. That's part of the deal. Get as much done as you can. It's only 7 minutes. I know, only 7 minutes. Anything. Some things can be bad no matter how short they are, right? So it will most certainly be spicy. Don't feel like you're failing if you don't go unbroken. You may have to break it up. That's fine. Just work as hard as you can for 7 minutes. Again, high intensity, not max intensity. I should be more specific with my words. High intensity, not max intensity. Try to be consistent throughout. Keep adding 3 each round. That should be a good one. Or for our carry for Tuesday, our Tuesday carries this cycle, it's going to be a suitcase carry, going as heavy as possible. 2 minutes per side, or 2 minutes alternating as often as needed. So you're going to suitcase carry. You pick up the dumbbell, pick up the kettlebell, whatever you're carrying. You're going to carry it. You're going to keep it off the ground for 2 minutes. That may mean switching hands every 10 seconds. That may mean 1 minute one side, 1 minute the other side. It may mean 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. However you break it up, just don't put that one weight implement down until 2 minutes is up. So it'll be 2 minutes, rest 1 to 2 minutes, and then you're going to do it again, hopefully with the same weight. Go as heavy as possible. Maybe you go super hard that first one and you got to drop the weight. That's fine. You want to get to where at the 2 minute point, you know you picked a weight when you're fingertipping it by the end, when you're barely holding on by the end. That's how you know you got a good weight there. And maybe you don't land the weight. You don't pick a perfect weight. And if it's far too light, I would say don't count that as a working set. If it's far too heavy, depending on how long you went, if you made it a minute, then that might be worth calling it good, especially if you pushed it to failure. But again, make it, if you don't get to failure at 2 minute mark, or you're not even close to it, and because the weight was too light, then maybe don't count that as a working set and add another set in there. Wednesday, active recovery, effective fitness combatives day. Thursday, June 20th, it's our speed and agility day and our moderate duration circuit. Zigzag agility drill into 4x 175 meter sprints, resting 90 seconds between those sprints. Make sure you warm up plenty. I mean, I give you a run prep for that, but maybe you do some build-up sprints. Maybe you run one at 25%, another at 50%, another at 75%, and you kind of inch up to that 90+% effort on those sprints, and then you start counting them as working sets to get your 4x 175 meters done. Something to keep in mind. Circuit for this Thursday, June 20th. Complete as many rounds as possible in 10 minutes. I like programming. You may not like getting them all the time, but I like programming workouts that are an AMRAP in time, because then I know every single one of you is going to do the same duration of work. Whereas if I were to just give you a chipper or a 10 rounds for time, some of you are going to finish that real fast and some of you are going to finish it real slow. So I really like programming this way, although I try to avoid doing it all the time just to keep the training fresh for you guys. But anyways, complete as many rounds as possible in 10 minutes of 6 front squats. Again, you can sub back squats with the heels elevated. 155 pounds or 115 pounds. Like always, I'm going to keep saying it, just so in the case this is the first time you're hearing me talk about this stuff,
I'm gonna keep saying it, but make sure the weight's appropriate for you. You don't have to do the weight that I write in the program. Okay, that's the recommended weight based on the general law enforcement population, but the generally trained law enforcement population. So if you're new to this stuff, maybe you got to go way lighter. Maybe you're going barbell, and that's fine. That's totally fine. 6 front squats, 8 burpee pull-ups. You do a burpee up to a bar, pulling yourself up. 10 kettlebell swings. If you don't have a kettlebell, then do box jumps. If you don't have a box, then do broad jumps. Both those would give you that very aggressive hip extension that we want to see out of kettlebell swings. So very good substitute. Just do it 1 for 1. If you do 10 kettlebell swings, do 10 box jumps. If you don't have a box, do 10 broad jumps. Weight on the kettlebell swings is 70 pounds or 55 pounds. Not everyone's going to have a slew of kettlebells either, so use what you have. And then 200-meter run. 10 as many rounds as possible in 10 minutes of that. You're going to rest 7 minutes, which is a pretty good amount of time. Make sure you're staying loose. Complete, and then you're going to go into complete as many rounds as possible in 10 minutes of 6 back squats. Same rope back squats, just back squats. 6 back squats at the same weight as the front squats. 8 burpee pull-ups. 10 kettlebell swings, same thing there, 200-meter run. So the change from that first effort to that second effort is just front squats turn into back squats at the same weight. And that's it for your Thursday. These conditionings, they've been longer in this cycle, and I think people have been liking it. Not something we're going to want to do indefinitely, just because it's a lot of conditioning. It's a lot of long efforts, longer, technically moderate duration efforts by our definition. So not something I want to keep up with, but definitely a fun cycle. Definitely some challenging conditioning in this one. Friday, your Flex Friday, on the same path with that one, just progressing reps. Make sure you're overloading. I say it all the time, I say all this stuff all the time, but I just want to, it needs to be reiterated because it's important for the effectiveness of the program. Make sure you're overloading your weight. Make sure you're overloading the reps. Either you're doing more volume of work or you're doing more load for the same amount of work. So make sure you're progressive overload. And then our tactical Saturday, June 22nd. We got deadlift prep into our conditioning, which is 8 rounds for time of 15 kettlebell swings at 70 pounds or 55 pounds. Use what you have, like I said before. Subbing broad jumps or subbing box jumps if you don't have the kettlebell or even a dumbbell you can use to swing. 15 power cleans, 95 pounds or 65 pounds. It's been cool to see your guys' videos on Instagram of people doing power cleans. I do my best not to be too critical in my mind, but the reason I prescribed them for the longest time is because I was just worried it's too skilled. But then I also appreciate the fact that you're not going to get better at them if you're not doing them. So power cleans are in. But with the substitute that you could do the sumo deadlift high pulls or a hang clean high pull, you can do something like that, much more basic movement. Don't even have an exercise video for power cleans because it's one of those things where you need more than, you gotta want to learn how to do power cleans, and maybe we'll do like a full educational video on power cleans at some point. But you gotta want to do power cleans. You're not gonna watch one demo video of me doing it and you're just gonna get it. You're gonna have to practice it. But they are very valuable. They are a good movement, and they aren't as technical as like a squat clean or a full like squat snatch or even a power snatch. Although they are certainly technical. So again, power cleans are fun. I hope you like that they're in there now. But also keep in mind, you don't have to do them. You don't have to do them to get the fitness attributes that we're training here. You can do the sumo deadlift high pulls. You can do the hang clean high pulls. And then long-winded explanation of this workout, finishing the 8 rounds for time, the kettlebell swings, power cleans, and then 15 box jumps, 15 reps of each. For the tactical skill integration, it's going to be after each round. So after you do 15, 15, 15, grab your tourniquet, close your eyes, and apply the tourniquet. Each time, each round, because you're doing 8 rounds, you're going to have 8 reps on a tourniquet. Apply it to a different limb. Always high and tight. I don't want to be, we're not the TAC Med instructors, right? Not in this space at least. So I want to stay away from giving you tourniquet application technique tips too much, but make sure putting it high and tight. Make sure if you want to do a spot check, check your pulse, check your radial pulse. and then make sure that if you can feel the pulse, then the tourniquet's not working, right? Because blood is still pumping into that arm. Get it on, get it off. Couple options from once you get it off, restage it, or just tangle it up, because you don't know what someone else is going to give you, or a buddy gets hit and you got to apply a tourniquet on them. Best practice, as I've been taught, is to use their tourniquet on them, because you may still need yours later on. So you use theirs. You don't know what kind of situation there's going to be, and it's probably still in the packaging or tangled up mess, something like that. But the idea is here, you got to work through that with your eyes closed, so it's just off feel. I don't know if I need to go into depth as to how that may be valuable. You're in a dark room, distorted vision, whatever. There's definitely value to being so skilled with tourniquet that you can do it with your eyes closed. So that's what we're going for here. And you're going to get 8 reps of it in this workout. And that's your week. As always, you got any questions, get with us on either Instagram, effective.fitness, or email coach@effective.fitness. You can email me directly at dave@effective.fitness. If you're a member already and you're on the app, you can send us messages on the app, and we get back to you as quickly as we can. There's 4 of us on there that check them. I get notifications every time there's a message, and as long as I'm not in my day job, then I get on it right away. If you need anything, let us know. We're here for you. We're your coaches. Have a good week of training. Let's get some.